Welcome back to another episode of the Rock Your Comeback podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Eaton, author of Rock Your Comeback and Rock Your Soul. And today we're talking about what I like to call the waiting room. So, this is the space where you're not quite in the next phase of your life. You feel close, you feel like something's moving, but you're not there yet. So this is really going to be about when the universe is making you wait and how to use this time of pause, this time in the void to actually make your manifestations come quicker and to feel good doing it. Okay. So it's the season where nothing's moving. And I think we're actually coming out of this. But if you're still in this, if you're still feeling like things are on a pause or you keep kind of encountering delays or nothing's really moving and flowing in the ways that you want them to, this is actually one of the most important seasons, I feel. I think that that pause time, that waiting room time is one of the most important places that you can be because it's really asking you, are you going to step into your next level or are you going to go back to the comfort? I always think of it, and I call it the waiting room because I think of it like this, right? You walk out of a room, you close the door behind you, and now you're locked out. You could go back because you actually do have the key to go backwards. But now we've got a long hallway ahead. And in this long hallway, you can see another door. You can see a door ahead, and you want to know what's in that door. And there's part of you that's very hopeful about that door. There's part of you that maybe sees the color of that door or just intuitively knows what that door is. But you have a long hallway. You have a long way to get there. You can see the edge, you can see the glow, but there's a lot to do. And you have this temptation of going backwards. You have this temptation of going back to what is familiar. And you have the key to get back into what's familiar. That's the tricky part is it's a temptation in and of itself to have the key in your pocket, knowing you can go back at any time. So this is about you moving forward. And I have to tell you that every single time I have had a massive delay in my life, it has led to something better. Every time I have had a launch take longer than I wanted to, or something that I really, really wanted take longer than I wanted it to, part of that was me, which we'll talk about, right? And me being afraid to actually take the action steps to get there. But then part of me was wanting to go back to the familiar, wanting to go back to the things I already knew because it was comfortable and it was safe. I know a lot of you out there are listening and you're like, Nicole, I've been doing the work. I have been doing the damn work and I'm not seeing the results. I'm not seeing where I want to go. It's because you're in the hallway. And the hallway isn't a bad place to be. It's a place to power up. It's a place to reinstate and it's a place to like double down on everything you're doing. It is not a place to buy into the reality of what already is. I'm going to say that again. It is not a place to buy into the reality of what already is. That's not how it works. This is the place to lock in what you desire. This is a place to lock in who you are to become that. It is not a place to go backwards, and it is not a place to decide that you're somewhere in the midland and that's where you're going to stay. There is a door. There is a door to where you want to go, but you have to be willing to believe in that door. You have to be willing to take the steps to walk towards the door and not go back to what's familiar. I think that going back to what's familiar is 90% of the time the issue with us actually getting what we want and moving forward. It is the emotional roller coaster of believing and then not believing. And I tell my clients this all of the time. If you are manifesting and you are going back and forth every single day of I want this, but I can't have this, but I'm not here yet, but I want this, but here's my reality. We're kind of in this juggle, right? The universe is like, okay, so you do want this. Okay, here you go. It is going to give you some kind of aligned thing. And then it hears you say, oh, I don't know if I can have this. And it gives you something that matches that belief. The universe is just delivering what you're looking for. I compare it to a Google search bar all of the time because if you're looking for things to work, you're going to find things that work. If you're looking for things to fail, you're going to find things that fail. But it depends on what you are looking for. And if you're looking for both of the things every day, proof that it works and proof that it won't because you're too scared, then you are going to get conflicting evidence and you're not going to see the momentum. So sometimes the waiting room and the length of the void, the length of the waiting room to the next door is is on you. It is your responsibility to correct those beliefs inside of you and to figure out what is under the surface of the thing you're afraid of. You get to figure out what's on the other side of that. Like what's under the surface of that? What is coming up? What am I afraid of? What am I afraid of, and is it even real? Because sometimes we're afraid of things and it blocks our beliefs and it blocks us from progressing in our life, but it's not even fucking real. Most fears aren't real. I had a client say to me the other day, like, Nicole, I'm afraid I'm going to be disappointed. Well, you're not doing anything at all. Is that disappointing? At least if you try and fail, you're making some movement. But like, if you're not doing anything at all because you're afraid you're going to be disappointed, or you're not saying the thing because you're afraid the person isn't going to reciprocate the feeling, or if you're not going after your dream job or trying for that next level, like, you're already perpetuating the disappointment, whether you're intentional or not. Our fears are feeding our life. And if we're not aware of them and we don't challenge them and we don't even look at them, that's where we get in trouble. So I want you to look at what is actually under the surface of the thing that I'm not doing. Now, that being said, sometimes it is just not the right time. And I always think of this example that Pastor TD Jakes gave. And he talked about, like, if I give my 5-year-old car keys, he's probably going to play with them for a few minutes and then lose them, right? He doesn't understand the value of them. He hasn't had the life experience. He hasn't had the personal growth. He just isn't ready at 5. But if I give my 16, 17-year-old car keys, they're going to be over the moon. Like, you trust me to drive this car? And I think of the universe like that, is that sometimes we think we're ready for something and we think that what we want is that in our best interest, but it's actually not. And when we let go of it and we trust the universe to deliver the things that we really want, that's the game changer. Then things can fall into place. And also, sometimes the thing we want and the thing we think we need to be better is not in our best and highest good anyway. Have you ever really wanted something to work out with, like, one of your exes, and then you're sitting here like 5 years later, like, thank God it didn't work out? That's like the universe, right? Is sometimes we get so locked in on one thing being the solution to all of our problems when it comes to manifesting, that we miss everything else. I was comparing it in the Comeback Club. I do a pep talk every week in the Comeback Club, and I was comparing it to, this is like you standing in the front door staring and just tending to everything in the front yard, and just staring out the front door waiting for the person to walk through the front door. But you've got a back door and a side door, and they might walk through there. So what if we just come back inside and clean the damn house, and then we can see all the doors and we're paying attention? Sometimes we want our manifestations to come from one direction and one pathway, and that's not how they were meant to come. It's just what you know. It's what you're aware of already. And sometimes, I swear to you, my best manifestations, my most powerful manifestations, have always come in a way I was not expecting, in a way that I didn't know of prior to it showing up. And so this is a reminder that there's also, in that waiting room, in that hallway, is a slew of other doors and possibilities to get you where you want to go. But if you keep looking at the door you just closed, because you have the key, because it feels familiar, you at least know what to expect. And you don't know how long you're going to be in the hallway, and you don't even know how long the void is, and you just don't know. When we don't know, our conscious and subconscious want to grip to the past, but you have to keep directing it towards the future, towards who you want to become, towards what you want, towards what you need. In the process of the void, you are being asked if you are energetically aligned for the next thing. You are being asked, not only do you believe in it, but do you believe you're a person who can have it? Our identity and locking in who we believe ourselves to be, almost method acting our way into who we want ourselves to be, locking that in and becoming that person, dressing like that person, talking like that person, that's a power move. That's a power play. That's saying, yeah, I'm ready for this phase of my life. Yeah, I'm ready to share my life with another person. Yeah, I'm ready for that bank account to be overflowing. I can handle it and I deserve it. When we are in that void, when we are in that hallway, when we are in the process of becoming, we get to really decide who we want to be in this phase of our life before we get to this next door, this desire that we have, that we know in our gut, that we feel is on its way. So, what if we reframe this time period as, what is this pause, this hallway, this waiting room teaching me about who I need to become, and what beliefs that person would have if it were already true? What would you be doing differently if that thing was already true? If you had the love, if you had the money, if you had the success, what would you be acting like? That's the power move of the year, is being so energetically aligned with that version of yourself that already has that thing, that it's such an unmistakable thing that it would naturally come to you. It would have to if you were already that person. So locking in the belief, right? Checking out what's underneath with the fear, and then also making sure you believe you're a person who becomes that. Now, the other part of this, right, is if you're in the hallway, there may be something you're meant to release. You cannot carry expired energy into your next level. Old patterns, old people, old pressures. What is it in your life that feels heavy that you need to let go of, put down? What beliefs about, I actually find it really cool when I work with people one on one that sometimes the desires they have are not desires they actually even still want. It's something they were started manifesting 5 years ago. And it's just part of, like, they haven't sat down to even look to ensure that it's still a desire in their heart. They're just going through the motions because they think they should, or because they've been doing it a long time. And sometimes those patterns of thinking, that just because we've invested a lot of time into something that it has to work out or that has to be the end goal for us still, make sure that you have the emotional energy with your desire. Because if you don't believe and you don't feel it in your bones, you can manifest. I'm not saying you can't, but I think that it's easier when you have that passion, that drive, that energy. So check out what needs to be cleared out. Make sure that you're not taking old desires, old beliefs into the future with you. The doors don't open like that if you're walking backwards into them. You can't even see the handle. And the other thing is like divine choreography. I always like the red string theory, like, or even the burnt toast theory, right? You're late, but you miss a big accident. All the people for 9/11, that something came up that morning, and for some reason they didn't go to work that day. I don't understand universal and divine timing on a universal level, but I do believe that sometimes we are in the right place at the right time. And I think that sometimes life is choreographing all of these pieces to make this happen for you. And so in the process, we just get to work on becoming a better version of ourselves. We get to clear out the old, we get to align with the new, and we get to just deeply dive into the care of ourselves. We get to clean the house while we're waiting for a different door to open, right? And these are like, the practical tools. If we're shifting, we're in this waiting room, we're in this hallway, we're powering up during the pause. Here are some things that you can actually practically do to take you to the next level when the timing is correct. Okay. So I'm a big fan of journal prompts. If you're on the Comeback Club, my online membership space, there's 102 because I do one every Monday. I release a new journal prompt. I think knowing yourself is one of the best ways to heal and one of the best ways to align with yourself, your desires, your wants, and dreams. So asking yourself, like, what would I be doing if I knew this was already on its way? I wouldn't be sitting here worrying about it or bitching to my friends about it. I would just expect that it's there. It's already locked in. Of course it's coming because I am the person who brings that in. And where can I trust the universe more and force a little less? Is there something that I'm pushing and forcing and having to do, or is it something I'm opening up to? Another thing that you can do is you can actually moving your body, clearing out energetic clutter. Okay, so clearing out actual clutter, like clearing out your office space, rearranging your office. I have a good friend, Chris Stilson. We've done episodes on feng shui in your home for manifestation. So there's a lot of opportunities to move the energy to clear it up, whether that's physically moving your body to exercise or if that means clearing out your physical space and letting go of objects. That matters too. Have you ever had a really messy, like I had a messy closet last week? Well, my closet's always a little messy because, girls. But I was like, I need to clean out my closet. I had so much stuff to do. And I was like, I just need to clean out my closet. And I walked in my closet this morning. I'm like, oh my God, it feels so good in here. And it's just a silly little thing, but I was able to probably get rid of 2 garbage bags full of clothes. I'm going to donate those. And that felt really, really good to pass that on and clear out the energy version of things that no longer resonate and align with me. I also found a ton of things that I didn't know I owned, which If you feel like you have nothing to wear, just clean out your closet. Best advice I can give you today. And lastly, one of the biggest things you can do is visualize yourself already having it. I was listening to The Power of the Subconscious Mind. It's a great book. It's something I revisit often. And he was talking about, selling his house. And he was like, what would I do if somebody put in a bid on my house and it was accepted? Well, I would go into my yard and I would literally just rip that sign out of the lawn and throw it in the trash. And so he would just sit and envision himself pulling out that sign, being so excited to do it, and ripping it up and throwing it in the trash. And the next day, he got an offer on the house. So we can visualize ourselves at the end line too. We can see ourselves on the other side of the door, or we can step into the emotion, even if you're not sure what that will look like and you want to hand that over to the universe. We can step into the emotion of it, step into the identity of the person who has already has it. Um, Joe Dispenza has a line that talks about remembering the future. And I think about visualization and that end goal visualization like that is, what would it be like to remember the future, to visit it so often that it feels like it's a done deal? I think that's a lot of fun. So, this is just a reminder that the pause is not a punishment, it is your preparation. It is how you show up and how you step into the best, most fun part of your comeback. Trust your timeline, trust your growth, and trust that hallway waiting period. Trust the void. It's doing something to activate your next level, and you get to help it along with the process through all of the work that I'm sharing with you today, all of the tools that I'm sharing with you today. So I'm excited for your comeback. I always love these conversations. And if they resonate for you, it's so, so helpful if you're willing to share it with a friend who really could listen to it today. Um, and it is always helpful if you rate the podcast, subscribe. That helps me keep it going for you. And if you have suggestions of topics you want me to cover, I'm really in this manifestation energy and trusting the universe energy. We do stuff over on the Comeback Club too. So we do weekly pep talks, a masterclass each month. And this month we are doing a masterclass on money manifestation. So if you're trying to manifest more money in your life, the first month is always free. So you can come, take what you need, and stay as long as you'd like. The link is in the show notes. And of course, if you want to work with me, I would love to connect with you. Make sure to check out the links in the show notes. I love you guys. It's always so fun to do this, and I can't wait for the next one. Bye.